Yo, welcome back to another Fusion video. Today I'm going to be showing you something simple. It's nothing too complicated. It's how to dime in Football Fusion 2. So, if you're looking to dime in Football Fusion 2, there's tons of ways you can go at this. You can be a person who just runs straight back and goes end zone to end zone, kind of like what I do. End zone to end zone typically gets a job done for me, but everybody has a different playstyle. Today I'm going to be showing you different types of playstyles, like a person who scrambles a whole lot and a person who typically drops back, which is more of what I am. But let's start out with the simple things. All right, end zone to end zone is the type of way I play. Keep it at 95 power. If you stand at the front of your end zone, about right here, and move your camera up, move your cursor up, and anywhere within this area is where you aim, you jump, and throw. Depending on how high you aim, it should go mid end zone. It should typically get the job done end zone to end zone. Nothing too complicated. Just use these bots as an example. Alright, so the bots go. Let's say I'm trying to buy time and I cut towards the sideline, and then they hit the 30 and I throw. That time I threw it a bit early, but you get the point. End zone to end zone should typically get the job done. This time let me show you how to actually know when to throw it in order for it to be a dime. So it's typically when they hit the 30 or the 25. When you jump and throw it, that's when you typically throw it. These bots unfortunately cannot mag, so I cannot really show you how perfect and flawless it is. But in a general game, if your receiver knows how to mag and how to catch, it should typically be a dime. Alright, stand about right here. Once they hit the 30, I throw it. And that should be a dime. See, they teleported. But you get the idea. That should be a dime. Now, crossbody is a bit different. Let's say if I were to hike, this time you throw it to when they hit about 35 or 30. So, end zone to end zone, I'm right here, buying time, wait to hit the 35, jump and throw. Boom. You get the idea. So, typically right here, if you're standing front end zone, you wait till they hit to 30 through 20, depending on where you're aiming your cursor. If you're back here, you wait till they hit the 35 or 25. And if you're all the way near back end zone and don't get the safety somehow, it's the same thing as mid end zone, if not add a little bit of extra yardage. And for crossbody, if you're front end zone, you throw it when they hit the 35. Once you're mid end zone, you throw it once they hit the 45. And that's the general idea. That's end zone to end zone. Now let's go end zone to end zone with powers that are not 95. So typically on average, if you're just straightforward, not crossbody, just straight out dime, this should hit around front end zone, if not near the 10, depending on where you are in the end zone. On average, the football goes about 8 yards less per every 5 power lost if it's straightforward. Now watch. Remember how the 90 landed front end zone? This should land around the 8 or the 10. If I throw it like that, 85, boom, at the 9. Right in the middle. And it's the same thing. Go down 8. Using math, this should hit around the 15 or 20. Go here. Boom, hits the 20. Crossbody is a bit different, on the other hand. If you're not using 95, and let's say you want to use 90, it's about, on average, 12 or 11 yards less, and you can't really predict. As crossbody, you can't really directly aim. That's front end zone. Let's say we're to go 85, that hit around the 10. This should hit around the 15 or 20. See? Hits around the 20. About 22 yards. Hits around 22 yards. The same thing further and further down. Alright, now, those are the basics from end zone to end zone. I can go more in depth about LFG or leagues to where you have to throw folds. To quickly show you what fold ball is, let's pretend this is the corner, aka the short as what we call it in leagues, and there's a PR or a safety over the top. This is typically the deep or the free safety that plays over the middle. A fold is in between the short and the deep, which is me. Anywhere in between is considered the fold. It's not too deep, not too short. It's what most QBs throw in leagues. I can go technical, but I'm not going to, as most of y'all probably watching this video do not play leagues. Alright, and that's the basics of end zone to end zone. To recap, if you want to throw 95 end zone to end zone, wait till they hit the 25 or 20 if it's straight across, and if it's crossbody, hit it around the 30, 35, or the 40, depending on where you're aiming it and how far back in the end zone you are. And to recap the powers, on average, the straight body goes around 8 yards less, and crossbody is typically 11 to 12 yards less for every 5 less power. For mobile players, they can get really technical all the way to like 82 power. On average, if you go down a singular power, it takes off about a yard or two, depending on how much you go down a yard. But I don't want to get too technical. I'm talking about like a widespread of players. Now there are some players who don't really like going back. If you know leagues, you may know this guy as Mezzo. Mezzo is one of the best scramble QBs that's ever played LFG or league games in general. What he does is that he sometimes goes back depending on how his O-line does. I'm not going to show how to play with an O-line, as there's typically not O-lines in Publix. But if you're like scrambling a whole lot, you're more prone to throw bullets than what you are dimes. Bullets are typically shorter and like that. Keep in mind that's a bullet. A dime is when you aim more up and do have more of an arc. In order to throw bullets, it's a bit harder to aim, but this should be a general idea. Let's say I'm on the 25 and I just hiked, my receiver is burning. And if I were to go straight, if I were to stay near the line of scrimmage, I would aim slightly above his head, jump and throw. That's a dime, but the bots cannot catch. In an actual game, that would be called a laser, or a bullet, as what most people call it, or what people call it in real life. Now, crossbody is a bit different. It's still the same concept. You aim in front of them, and if slightly above their head, that time that was under, but you get the idea. Just make sure the further they are, the more you have to move your cursor above their head. But always try keeping a good camera angle and keeping it in front of them and above their head. The further they go, the more you move your cursor up. It's kind of like a slope. If you know anything about math, like a slope or like a hill in real life, it goes straight up and to a side. You kind of have to keep it like that. Let's say I get ready to hike the ball, I hike, and if it's crossbody, I have to keep it in front of them and aim further up the more they go downfield. You get the idea. That's for crossbody. If it's just straight across, let's say I were to hike the ball once it hits the 25, I'm right here trying to stay near the line of scrimmage. Depending on how far, you just aim above their head, jump, throw, boom. In a real game, that's a fit or a dime. That's how I typically play scrambling. If you don't like dropping back too far, if you like playing near the line scrimmage, you can just throw 95 bullets. It can also be said the same with other powers as well. Let's say I were to hike 90 power, you would have to aim a little bit further up, as it doesn't go as far, not as fast. Boom, 90 power. That time that was over, but it's the same concept. And same thing with crossbody. You just have to aim. You have to. Let's say I wanted to fit them once I get towards the end zone. If I'm near the 25 yard line, it's kind of said the same. Hike. I wait for them, and let's say I want to fit them end zone. Or if I were to do it right now, in an actual game, that would be a fit because the receiver knows how to time. You would aim it like that. You wouldn't. Keep in mind, the further upfield you are, try not aiming as much higher because it's more prone to go out of bounds. Keep in mind that's 90 and it hit back end zone. If I were to do 95 without being back end zone, you see, that would definitely be out of bounds because the barrier. Just the further upfield you are and the closer towards the end zone you are, the more bullets or chest throws you're going to have to throw, or the more dots you're going to have to throw. But the more field you have, the higher you can aim. And to quickly recap the scrambling QB type, hike the ball. You can still throw it up, though you're going to have to lower your power as it can go further. Throw a bullet, actual game that's a fit. And same thing for straight across. I get ready to hike the ball. I hike it. I go back. I wait for them to hit a certain yard line. Aim above their head. Throw. 95. Boom. And, yeah, that's basically it for the end zone to end zone QB type, which is more of me, or the scrambling QB type, or the more okay, there's LFG QBs who like dropping back like me, but there's also more scrambling QB types like what more you see in Publix. And that quickly sums up how to play a scrambling QB type and a end zone to end zone QB type. All right. Make sure if you have a friend who really wants to learn how to QB in Fusion, make sure to show them this video. In next video, I'm going to go more in depth about LFG QBs or league QBs and how to throw a forward ball, how to communicate with your O-line who is blocking for you, and how to overall just be a better player. Alright, thank you for watching, and I hope you have a great day.